The story of the 1935 Chevrolet Suburban begins at a time when America was still recovering from the Great Depression, and the automobile industry was rapidly evolving to meet new needs. Families, businesses, and government agencies were looking for vehicles that could do more than just transport people. They needed something rugged, versatile, and capable of carrying both passengers and cargo without sacrificing reliability. Out of that demand came one of the most enduring names in automotive history, the Suburban. What makes the 1935 model so special is that it was the very first of its kind, essentially the grandfather of the modern SUV. Chevrolet introduced the Suburban Carryall in 1935 as a two-door wagon built on a half-ton truck frame. The design was straightforward yet revolutionary for its time. Instead of being limited to either a car or a truck, this vehicle combined elements of both. It could carry up to 8 passengers thanks to 3 rows of seating, yet still offered space in the back for luggage or work gear. This combination of practicality and durability made it stand out immediately. Chevrolet marketed it as a vehicle for large families, small businesses, and even government services like the National Guard. At the time, the concept of a multi-passenger utility vehicle simply didn't exist in the same way, and the Suburban filled that gap perfectly. From the outside, the 1935 Suburban had the strong and sturdy look of Chevrolet trucks of that era. The front end featured a tall vertical grille with horizontal slats, flanked by large round headlights. The body was made of steel, which was an important upgrade because many competitors were still relying on wood framing for their wagons. The all-steel construction gave the Suburban greater durability and safety, and it made the vehicle more resistant to the wear and tear of heavy use. Its two-door configuration might seem unusual today, but it was practical for the time. Passengers entered through the large doors and climbed into the spacious interior, which could be configured for seating or cargo depending on the owner's needs. Under the hood, the 1935 Suburban was powered by Chevrolet's reliable inline 6-cylinder engine known as the Stovebolt Six. This 206 cubic inch motor produced about 60 horsepower, which was enough to keep the Suburban moving steadily even when fully loaded. By today's standards, those numbers seem modest, but back then the combination of torque and durability was what really mattered. Owners wanted something that could handle rough roads, long trips, and heavy payloads without constant maintenance. And the Stovebolt delivered exactly that. Power was sent to the rear wheels through a 3-speed manual transmission, giving drivers simple but effective control. The driving experience of the 1935 Suburban was very much like that of a truck. It had leaf spring suspension front and rear, a solid rear axle, and strong drum brakes. It wasn't built for speed or luxury, but rather for toughness and reliability. Many of the early buyers appreciated that it could take the punishment of rural roads, unpaved surfaces, and daily hauling duties without complaint. This was especially valuable in a time when paved highways were still expanding, and many regions relied heavily on dirt or gravel routes. Inside, the Suburban was basic but functional. Bench seats could be arranged in rows to accommodate up to 8 passengers. The interior trim was simple, reflecting the utilitarian purpose of the vehicle. There were no luxury features or creature comforts in the way we think of them today. Instead, buyers got a durable, hard-working machine that was flexible enough to serve as a family hauler during the week and a cargo mover on the weekend. This adaptability is part of what gave the Suburban such a long-lasting legacy. The impact of the 1935 Chevrolet Suburban went far beyond its initial release. It set the template for a new class of vehicles that would eventually become known as sport utility vehicle. For decades afterward, Chevrolet continued to refine and update the Suburban, but the core idea of combining passenger space with truck toughness remained unchanged. It became popular with military organizations during World War II, police departments, schools, and even rural hospitals that needed reliable transportation in difficult conditions. The fact that the Suburban name has survived continuously from 1935 to today makes it one of the longest-running automotive nameplates in history. Collectors today view the 1935 Suburban as a landmark vehicle because production numbers were relatively low and many of these vehicles were worked hard in their day. Surviving examples are rare. Restoring one can be a challenge, but the results are impressive. Seeing the two-door steel-bodied wagon on its half-ton truck chassis reminds enthusiasts just how innovative Chevrolet was at the time. At car shows and museums, the 1935 Suburban often attracts attention for its historical significance as much as for its design. It represents the very beginning of a vehicle type that dominates roads today. When we look at the 1935 model, it is clear how forward-thinking it was. Chevrolet anticipated the needs of customers who wanted one vehicle to do many jobs. That vision has carried through 9 decades of continuous production. The modern Suburban is a luxury-filled full-size SUV with powerful V8 engines, advanced electronics, and comfort features far beyond what anyone in 1935 could imagine. Yet if you strip away the technology and look at the core purpose, it remains the same idea introduced with the original Carryall, a vehicle that can carry people, cargo, or both with rugged dependability. Another interesting point is how the 1935 Suburban foreshadowed the rise of suburban living in America. At that time, most people still lived in cities or rural areas, but as highways expanded and families began moving to the outskirts of towns, vehicles like the Suburban became even more valuable. They could handle the longer commutes, the weekend trips, and the growing need for versatile family transportation. In many ways, the 1935 model not only gave birth to the SUV, but also reflected broader changes in American society that were just beginning to take shape. Driving one of these vehicles today is like stepping back in time. The upright seating position, the large steering wheel, and the mechanical feel of the transmission remind us how different the automotive world was in the 1930s. There is no power steering, no air conditioning, and no automatic transmission, yet the charm of the Suburban lies in its simplicity. Every sound of the engine, every movement of the gears, connects the driver directly to the machine. It is a reminder that utility and reliability were the highest priorities for vehicle design in that era. The legacy of the 1935 Chevrolet Suburban cannot be overstated. It is the foundation of a lineage that has lasted nearly 90 years, adapting to changing times but always staying true to its original mission. Whether used by families, businesses, or institutions, it proved that one vehicle could handle many roles. Today, when we see modern SUV dominating the roads, it is worth remembering that it all started with that humble two-door steel wagon built on a truck chassis back in 1935. The Suburban did not just create a new model, it created an entirely new category of vehicle.